Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Juliana. This video is going to be all about spring cleaning and how to actually clean out and detox your wardrobe. I definitely feel like spring cleaning and things like New Year's resolutions are kind of cliches at this point, but I personally love them. Any kind of reason I can reset and clean out old energy, I take it. And I think periodic cleaning is just super important for our wardrobe and our just living space in general. Whether you're actually someone who's into fashion at all, we all dress in a way that's consciously or subconsciously a reflection of our identity and our self-concept. So how funny, flirty, or shy, introverted we are, it's all reflected back out in our outfits. Whether we realize we're doing it or not, we tend to choose clothes that really match these qualities. And if you're someone that's constantly growing and evolving, which I think we all are to some extent, especially if you're focused on self-improvement, you're going to be growing into these higher versions of yourself. And this should definitely be reflected in your wardrobe and what you wear. If you think about it, if you want to glow up or have a more elevated mindset, dressing better does tend to be one of the ingredients to this transformation. I think dressing better or kind of tidying up and enhancing your grooming or hygiene routine, I think it's a natural thing if you want to level up, whether or not fashion is your thing. So going back to this video and why it's so important to declutter, the idea is that we want to clear out old clothes and therefore old energy. Decluttering is just so beyond powerful for our mental health. I personally never realized how much of a difference it makes for my own mental clarity until I do it. It's almost like as if you were always using cheap earbuds. You get used to it and the poor sound quality eventually sounds normal, until one day you switch to these really high quality surround sound noise canceling earbuds. Suddenly everything is brought up a notch and you experience this intense clarity. That's essentially what it's like to declutter. We can get so used to the junk in the corners of our space because it becomes familiar, but we don't realize that these objects that are just sitting there, they actually muddle our peace of mind, and especially with clothes, they can keep us tethered to the events that they were relevant for in the past. This could have been things like past parties, holiday impulse purchases, or regular clothes that we just no longer wear because we don't want to be reminded of that specific date and time. There's a lot of reasons and events that can bring pieces into our wardrobe that we don't love, or maybe we did love at one time, but since then we've kind of changed as a person. And once all these pieces start building in our closet, it can actually degrade our wardrobe and produce this sense of having a closet full of clothes but nothing to wear. So the first criteria in terms of what to declutter is that the clothes in your wardrobe should fit the current you. Now this is kind of twofold. We want clothes to fit in the literal sense. We want to get rid of anything that feels ultra tight or way too loose. Having clothes that fit your proper size should be the basic foundational requirement for the clothes in your closet. That being said, you want to get rid of clothes that maybe a past you, a thinner or larger you would have fit in. If you had clothes from when you were a teenager and now you're in your 20s, 30s, or older, unless you still truly love those styles and fit perfectly in them, I think it's best to release them and not hold on to a past version of yourself. I've also never liked the idea of buying a dress or clothing piece that's a couple sizes too small, with the idea that it's motivating for you to fit in it at some point in the future. Your clothes should ultimately serve you and not the other way around, so the sizes in your wardrobe should definitely fit your current self. And even if you didn't go through some intense weight fluctuation, I think our bodies tend to change whether you went through puberty or you got pregnant and your body is no longer the same as before. All of these are reasons that our bodies can fluctuate and become different than how they were in the past. So yeah, I think it's important to kind of normalize that and not see that as a sort of loss. Other types of ill-fitting clothes can maybe be pants or skirts that are way too long, or even sleeves that are just the wrong length. Everything that you keep should look like it's tailored for you. The only caveat is if you have clothes that maybe don't fit perfectly right now, but that you want to get tailored or hemmed. However, if this is the case, definitely still ask yourself how long you've been wanting to get said pieces tailored. If the answer is way too long, you might just be too busy in your day-to-day life, and it might be better to just release this piece of clothing and instead use clothing pieces that fit you properly. By the way, since we're on the topic of finding clothes that fit your personal body type, I do want to give a quick shout out to my personal styling services. I offer services that can help you find the best colors and styles for your personal body type and complexion, and I've made the process itself super simple and flexible. All you have to do is book the analysis, and then at a time that's convenient for you, just fill out this 5 to 7 minute questionnaire. But essentially you submit your pictures of whatever the analysis is for. Say with my body type style analysis, you would just send over pictures of your physique, and I use your responses and pictures to create a PDF booklet specifically for your body type and your personal features. I remember before I created my own styling services, I was actually looking for some myself, but it always seemed to be a really extensive 3-week process that you had to be in person for, or it was done by AI, which I kind of think is such a ripoff. So I wanted to make my services in a way that's personalized specifically to you, and you can kind of think of it like a style cheat sheet that you have for life. And since we're on the topic of spring and spring cleaning, I'm super excited to be introducing my new spring cleanout workshop. This is going to be a one-to-one virtual call where we go through your closet and I help you identify pieces that you should get rid of, as well as maybe missing pieces in your wardrobe according to your style goals. And from there, I can give some recommendations on brands and maybe products that I think will fit you best. So yeah, if any of this interests you, definitely check it out. I'll leave the link to book any of these services in my description. Now, spring is also the perfect time to look through and declutter the winter items that you may have in your closet that you really didn't use during the season. So think sweaters, jackets, coats, and pants, and I mean boots. All of this stuff is really clunky and large. So we want to identify anything that just kind of sat around the entire winter and never got used. You want to take a good look or even try on these clothes and think about whether you feel good in them. I think a lot of winter clothing tends to be just less flattering in the sense that we may just choose to wear them for the sake of warmth. I don't know. I definitely think you can find cute warm clothing. So unless there really is no substitute for the clothing piece that you have, if you hate wearing it and it makes you feel ugly, just get rid of it. Also, a quick hack that you can do in your closet at the start of spring or at the start of any season. If you really want to track which clothes you actually use during a season and which just kind of stay on the hanger, hook all of your hangers onto your closet bar one way. Then as you go throughout the season and wear the pieces in your closet, when you put that piece back on the hanger, you want to place the hanger back onto the bar in the opposite direction. That way, by the end of the season, you'll have a visual based on the hangers on which clothes you actually used. Another thing you can hone in on when decluttering your closet are the colors in your wardrobe. You want to identify the colors that don't really make you feel your best. This is going to look different for everyone. On some people, the color black can bring out the blues and purples in your under eyes and just in your face in general. Whereas the color white, if you're super pale, it can really wash you out and bring out any redness in your face. You want to keep the colors in your wardrobe that you tend to feel most like yourself in. Now, if you have no idea what that means and you have no idea which colors you like and look good in, I'd suggest starting with the basics. Do you like wearing neutrals like whites, grays, and blacks? Or do you prefer colors like pinks, reds, and blues? There's also the difference between bright versus muted colors. You might be into bright colors like neons and pastels, or you might like more rich jewel tones like mustards and burgundies. So once you answer these questions and kind of figure out your ideal color palette, you can use this as a guide to really weed out pieces that don't match this color palette. This isn't to say that you can't have any variety in your wardrobe, but just think about it. If you feel like you don't look good in a color, like I personally don't really love myself in the color orange, so I don't really have any orange in my closet. And if I did have like a bright orange dress, even if the fit is amazing, I'll probably still not gravitate towards it and it'll likely just end up sitting in my closet. Now, if you really want to get specific and know the exact color palette that looks best on you, I think it comes down to your color season, which again, I do offer a color analysis that I'll link in the description. But yeah, the whole point of this is just to underline how important colors are in your wardrobe, since they really reflect your own personality and demeanor. Okay, so now that we've kind of implemented these guidelines and have taken out pieces in our closet that no longer serve us, instead of chucking them in the landfill, I actually have a lot of recommendations in terms of what to do with these clothes. There's many options that will actually pay you back a decent amount of the original retail price, and you can do this in person or online. The best consignment stores in person that I know of are Buffalo Exchange, Crossroads, and Plato's Closet. These places tend to give you 30 to 50% of the original retail value, which can be great if you do tend to purchase higher end pieces. However, just to note that at these places, I do think that the brand name matters. So make sure the pieces that you do bring in are from more reputable brands or from more recent collections. Otherwise, you'll probably be better off spending your time just donating them to Goodwill. Also, it really depends on where you go. From my experience, Buffalo Exchange is more open to the really outwardly trendy and wild pieces of clothing. And like I mentioned, you can also do this whole consignment process online. The main ones that I know of are Depop and Poshmark. These tend to be more for designer items, especially accessories, but clothing does have a huge market as well. They, again, just tend to be more designer items. Now, if you do online, you can do it in the comfort of your own home, but it can be a little more work in the sense that you have to list the items yourself. The last option I could think of was ThredUp. I love ThredUp and definitely want to work with them one day, so I'm just sending that out into the universe now. But essentially, you just request a bag that you can then fill up with your clothing, and you ship it back to one of their warehouses. Then ThredUp goes and processes them and markets them on their website. But yeah, the whole point of this is just to show that there's so many options when getting rid of your clothes, just beyond throwing them out. Ooh, another option that I did want to mention was H&M. They don't do consignment, but they have a really great donation program. I think you have to bring in at least 3 items, and they have these bins where you can just go and donate your clothes, and once you drop them off, you'll get a 15% off coupon. So not exactly the same as consignment, but I still think it's pretty cool. Now, after we've decluttered, organized, and donated/consigned our old clothes, the key now is to not repeat the process, or at least not at the same scale. We want to be extra mindful for the sake of our mental well-being and our wallet to avoid buying into the same trends that kind of put our wardrobe in that state in the first place. This is not me saying that you can never shop again ever, and I kind of think that even if you're a mindful shopper, I think some level of periodic detoxing and decluttering is going to be inevitable as we go through life and maybe have major life changes. So yeah, in the meantime, we just want to build in these habits and strategies that allow us to consume mindfully and really cultivate a wardrobe that we love and truly use every day. I'm thinking I'll make that the topic of one of my upcoming videos, so definitely keep a lookout for that. If you're not already following my Instagram and TikTok, I also put updates on there. And yeah guys, I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!